I'm looking at the Trek Conduit Plus, probably one of my favorite bikes in their Bike Plus line, electric drive system and everything. It's a couple $100 more than the Lift, which is a little bit more of a neighborhood, almost like cruiser kind of thing. This one's definitely geared for kind of commuting or maybe even trekking or long distance riding, touring. You've got these cool sort of aluminum fenders, real tight, narrow. You can see that there's a mud flap at the bottom, so you get really good coverage, but when you turn, hopefully it's not going to collide with your toes or anything. It's really well set up. In the back, same thing, long fender, and this really cool rack. So you can see it mounts here as well as down here, so it's actually 4 points, and it's got this sort of extra wide rail extending just on the right, and that's for a U-lock, so you can slide it down. It'll just like hang right there if you want, or you can use a traditional pannier, one on each side. So again, decent for like, you know, I'd say kind of short range touring, because you are efficient. You've got really good range with the drive system on this, but you've also got just the capacity to carry some stuff. I really like that. It's neat to see a bike that has features like this just built right in. And of course, it's got bottle cage bosses on the seat tube. I love that. This bike comes in 4 different sizes, and I've got those along with some of the specs back at the website, but starts at 15 inches. It's pretty cool. Definitely a range here, and that's nice because it's a diamond high step frame, and standing over this and mounting it could be a little more difficult, but by having a diamond, they're able to keep the strength up, make it a little bit easier to hang on the back of your car. It's only 45 pounds, so you know, if you took off the battery pack, that's like 5 or 6 pounds right there. You're gonna take it down even further, 40 pounds-ish. That's kind of the limit for a hanging style rack. I really like that you're able to do that, and all of their bikes, all the Trek electric bikes, are pretty lightweight. Some of the cables are run through the frame, some of them are just kind of tacked onto the side. Still a really clean look, and the top tube especially is very clean, not gonna get snagged or anything. Nice handsome color, kind of this Trek black going on. Nebula saddle. All the touch points are a little bit upgraded, including these, I guess they call them like elite satellite ergonomic rubber grips. Just feels a little bit better. They're a little bit thicker, and you can rest your wrist a little bit easier for those longer rides. This is more of a forward oriented ride position, so you are kind of leaning forward, get a little bit more aerodynamic, more of an active pedaling position, and that's great. And it's very efficient because these tires here are 700 by 35C, so more traditional, like 28 inch. They've got these nice reflective sidewalls, so visibility is actually done really well on this bike, and that's because they've integrated front and rear lights, and of course they have the required reflectors too. But the lights are run right off that main battery pack. So it's awesome. You don't have to worry about replacing batteries separately, turning them on, turning them off, having them get stolen. It's all integrated into the frame. They aren't adding weight. They aren't adding clutter. I absolutely love that. You're getting a decent drivetrain as well. You can see back here, Shimano Deore derailleur. That's one of their sort of mid-upper level components from Shimano. 10 gears. So that's enough that you can climb, you can hit those 20 miles per hour when the motor cuts out, but you can get there and even a little bit faster pretty efficiently. It's comfortable. The cadence is going to match your ride style, and I prefer that. It's great to have a number of gears in the back when you're using a mid-drive like this, instead of having the added weight and complexity of a second derailleur. So all we've got here is a single sprocket in the front. They do have a nice little plastic guide, and that's part of the Shimano step system. It comes with the motor and the battery and everything. It's just going to keep your pants and stuff from getting greasy or getting snagged on that chain. The rest of the bike is pretty traditional. The Lift, which is the entry-level model, has quick release front and rear. This one has no quick release, and I think that they did that probably purposefully to kind of reduce tampering. If you are using this to commute to work and back, even the little seat tube clamp here is not quick release. So you're going to need to use a tool to get these on and off, but again, maybe no one's going to mess with them. Hydraulic disc brakes, 160 millimeter front and rear. They actuate really nicely, just smooth. You get a lot of power, decent kickstand back here. It does lean a little bit to the side, but it keeps the bike pretty stable. Definitely love that. Cockpit's relatively clean. Got the Shimano levers here, hydraulic, pretty good size. I think that's a good sort of a sweeping overview. It might be time to talk about the drive system, because that's what really differentiates this from some of the other standard Treks. They're using the Shimano Steps system, so you can see the label right here. The motor is a mid-drive. It gives you 250 watts nominal, 500 watts peak, and it's 50 Newton meters of torque. So pretty good. Like it's a pretty powerful motor, and it uses a combination of wheel speed. There's like a sensor back there, so it recognizes that you're moving, plus cadence, so are you pedaling, and then really torque. In my experience with this bike, it's all about like you pushing and how hard you're pushing. And of course, if you're at a higher level of assist, it's going to be even more responsive. You're going to even more power, all the way up to that 20 mile per hour mark. So I like it. And it does have some shift sensing. My experience has been that it's not quite as refined as like Bosch or Impulse, but that it's there. And so if you're conscious about how you shift gears, you can just avoid premature wear on the chain and sprockets and derailleur. So that's very cool. And again, just the weight and everything, how compact it is right there at the bottom bracket. It almost kind of fades away, at least from this side on the bike. The battery pack, pretty awesome. It is 36 volts, 11.6 amp hours, so 0.6 more than the Bosch power pack, which I view as kind of a competing system. It's nice, you know, it looks good. It's right there on the down tube. It keeps weight low and center. It does lock to the frame. One of the unfortunate things about it, though, is that you can't charge it on the frame. Like, there's no plug. There's no extra place to plug it in. You have to physically remove it. So you unlock it, slides out to the side, take it inside with you or wherever, and that's fine. And you plug it in, and the charger has a pretty big plug. It's just not quite as beautiful and miniature as some of the other chargers, but Shimano does a good job. Their stuff's high quality. I would just say be careful when you're taking this off. Make sure you have a good handle on it so you don't accidentally drop it and crack the case, okay? And hopefully in the future they'll let you maybe plug in, but maybe that reduces the chances of water or just complexity, keeps the price a little bit lower. There is sort of a rubber seal here where the battery connects, and I think that reduces vibration. It feels solid. I'm just someone who puts their bike inside. So for me, it's like I already brought the whole bike in. I just want to plug it in. I don't want another step of taking the battery off, potentially dropping it, whatever. Trek says, actually Shimano recommends that you kind of keep the batteries in a cool, dry location between 60 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit, kind of top it off after you ride. I've heard that if you leave it at about 50% for long-term storage, that's not going to stress the cells. So there's some tips for you. I think we're at the point where we can just actually get into operating the system. One of the other question marks for me is, you can't just turn it on up here. You have to lean down, press this power button, and it lights up. Okay, we know we've got full charge here. Now we're back up looking at the display. So if I'm standing over this like I was about to ride, I can reach down there. It takes a little bit of an extra effort. The display's pretty nice. It's a smaller screen. It is adjustable. You can kind of set the angle up the way you want it, but then it's pretty firm unless you leave it doesn't like swivel quite as easily. But the display does come off, so you can completely slide it off if you want, and that's nice. Just like the battery, you can avoid vandalism and extreme weather. So there we go. I popped it back on. It knows the bike's on. It's like, hello, and it's telling me, here's your speed, 0 miles per hour. Pedal assist is off. Here's the time. And then there's all these other readouts at the bottom. All of this is operated remotely using this button pad, and you can get good enough with this where you don't even have to look down. You're just riding and you're intuitively navigating through the different levels of assist. There are only 3, so it's pretty easy. It's off, eco, normal, and high, and that's really 50%, 100%, or 200%, and that's sort of relating to how much power you're outputting. So if you're outputting 20 watts, it's going to output 10 more watts if you're in eco mode. 20 watts in normal is 40 watts. 20 watts in high is 60 watts. You get it? So it's based on how hard you're pushing. Again, back to the kind of the torque sensing advanced sensors down there. It's pretty cool. A lot fewer buttons than the Bosch and Tuvia, and it's a lot more compact and stuff, so it's kind of minimal. I think that's why it's a little bit more affordable than that system as well. But I do like the button pad. Let's go ahead and hit that square, and it's going to let us navigate through the different sub-menus. So right now it says range, and it gives you actually a readout of what range you can expect on different levels of assist. So eco's 24, normal's 21, high is 17. You can see it progressively drops as you go to the higher power output, as you'd expect. Got time, average speed, max speed, distance, odometer, range. it's pretty comprehensive. I like that. It definitely works well, and then it's just up and down on these buttons. You can feel them click, but you can also hear the beeping, and I'm at the top right now, so when I say go higher, it's like I can't, beep, beep, but going down, you hear the beeps. It's nice. It's good, point of feedback, again, so that you don't have to look down. The beep could get a little annoying, though, after a while. It's kind of a mixed thing for me, I guess. I appreciate that they have something. This is well designed. It's good stuff. If we press the black square for a few seconds, we're gonna get the lights. There we go, lights on. And that is what I was so stoked about before. You can see the little flashing lights down there. Hopefully low enough that your panniers don't even block them. I mean, it's very cool to have those. I've been told that and maybe I wasn't told, I think I read that, who knows, online, right? That most bike accidents are from the front. And so having a really nice bright light right there that's integrated, that is so cool to me. I think that's a huge win with this bike. Definitely love that. Go ahead and leave those on for the test ride. Little rubber bands, and everything's just real nice on this bike. It's a premium product, and you definitely are paying a little bit more, but you don't really have to get anything. It's just ready to go, and you can find the right size, and you get 2 years of sort of a 2-year warranty, and that includes the battery and everything. It's awesome, and Trek will ship these for free to your dealer, and you can pick it up, or some dealers will deliver it. So I really like that. I think it's time to hop on and give it a go. Okay, I've been out cruising around this neighborhood, really smooth streets, and this bike is perfect for it. It's just wonderful to ride, and I was surprised how comfortable it felt given, sort of narrower tires, and there's no suspension on this. You could potentially do a suspension seat post. I think it's 27.2 millimeters on that, and I don't think it would interfere. The lights and everything are down here, so that would be an option I would consider. But really, it was pretty good. And, there is a tire pressure range, 60 to 95. So if you lower the tire pressure, you're going to get a little bit more comfort. And you have the motor, so who cares if it's not super efficient? That's one of the benefits of an electric bike. So I'm really impressed. Normally, I think I'd be like, oh, this is stiff and stuff. And it does have a more forward angle. But just coming back to the price point, $29.99 versus $27.99 on the next level down. If you're okay with the high step, like you're just getting so many cool features. So I'm really liking this bike. I'm gonna go ahead and hop on it. I am in the highest level of pedal assist, and that way you can hear it, and I can kind of shift through, and you can listen for the shift sensing and stuff a little bit easier. But keep that in mind, this is louder than it would normally be. One of the other cool things or interesting things about these bikes is that when you pedal backwards, there's no like ticking noise. It's just like super smooth, and there's like zero resistance. And so it took some getting used to. If you accidentally bump this, you can accidentally, scrape your shin. So be careful for that. Okay, so I'm in a medium gear here. I'm gonna go ahead and push hard. I'm in high. There it goes, it switched on. Can't hear it very much because it's going slow right now. And then we pick up speed. Super responsive. So that's that advanced cadence sensor that I was talking about. And this time I'm going to shift down and then shift up while the motor's going, and just listen for that kind of the shift sensing mechanism. Okay, switch hands here. There we go. Okay, hear it whirring more as it's higher RPM on the motor. Now I'm going to shift. Performed pretty well. I'm pushing pretty hard and pedaling and doing, and ideally you'd let off a little bit as you shift to try to give the motor a break. But I think it handled that test pretty well. And again, just for normal pedaling, it's about, it's really not too loud, and you're definitely feeling the power with that torque sensor. So it's pretty satisfying bike to ride. The step system's on a number of other bicycles. I think it started out with the Raleigh Maseo IE in 2015, and that had like an internally geared hub and stuff. I really like having 10 gears to choose from. I could totally see myself commuting on this. And going with my friends on the weekends on road rides and stuff. It's not something I'd want to take off-road, but it's totally set up. You've got all the different accessories and stuff. So yeah, I'm impressed. I like the bike. For the full write-up on this with all the specs I keep talking about, the frame sizes and everything, I'll see you back at ElectricBikeReview.com. And of course, especially with a bike like this, ride safe. And keep in mind that Trek has another model. It's kind of a speed pedelec, and it's like $3,500. So if you're someone who wants to get there faster, and maybe you're also a commuter, but you've got a little bit more cash, check that one out. It uses the Bosch drive system, and I'll have that linked in the review back at the site too. So there you go. Have fun.